Greetings, viewers and listeners. Welcome back to On Your Life talk show with yours truly, Coach Mama Lyn, the pulpit beyond the pulpit, where we discuss issues that are rarely, if at all, talked about in the four halls of our churches. And today I am so excited. I think you can see even by the way that I'm dressed, I'm so excited because today is going to be energetic because we are kickstarting our Generation Next Youth series. And as you can see in the studio, I have those who are young at heart and they are ready to go and to share as we unpack on the topic on mental health as it concerns the youth. So I don't want to waste much of your time. I just want to introduce my panel as is our norm. So allow me to introduce my highly esteemed panel that is going to unpack this subject for us today. So I have with me Vimbai Locadia Zimbeva. She serves as the National Youth Pastor at Pentecostal Revival Church. She is the founder of Set Apart Generation Youth Movement, a youth ministry whose aim is to raise a holistic generation who is complete spirit, soul, and body. This ICT student won third place in the Girls in ICT Hackthon in Zimbabwe competition this year. She is a holder of a diploma in Christian ministry and leadership, as well as computing. She is currently studying for a Bachelor of Science honors degree in business computing and information systems. Pastor V, welcome to On Your Life.
Thank you, Coach.
And this handsome dude right here is Keith Jana Morgen. He is the founder and president of Exemplary Youth Experts. He is passionate about youth evangelism and is known as an itinerary evangelist who has traveled around the country evangelizing to the youth with the blessing of his youth pastors and local church. Keith is a youth mentor, singer, motivational speaker, and philanthropist. He also runs the Days of Worship Forum social media platforms, aka Modern Saints at DOY Forum on Facebook. Keith is single. Let me take it again. Keith is single. I don't know how single, we'll find out. Keith is single and serves at Faith World Ministries, Zimbabwe. He describes himself as a social, fun, and enthusiastic young man who started serving God at 14 and never looked back. Keith, welcome to the pulpit beyond the pulpit.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Maybe before we go on, how single is the single? Are you single as in there's no one, or you are single and there's someone?
I'm single, but there's someone. I'm not searching.
Okay. I just thought I should help because maybe some single sister who is online was already praying and Anyway, let us move on. Brighton Wiseman, affectionately known in music circles as BryThreeSixty, is an African hip-hop artist, songwriter, record producer, and graphic designer. He has established himself as one of the forces to be reckoned with in his home country in the hip-hop genre. BryThreeSixty was born in Kadoma but grew up in Chi-Town, Chitungwiza. He says he started rap music in 2010. He is a former member of the hip-hop outfit Christwood with other members, namely Scorpio Rolls and El Deeper. The ambitious rapper has shared the stage and collaborated with various artists. He is a 4-time award-winning musician. Among his accolades are Best Influential Male, CHH Awards, Best Collaboration Top Niger Awards Nigeria, with the song Shea Bay featuring Lil Dizzy, Best Socialite of the Year CMLA Awards, and was also nominated for Changamire Hip Hop Awards, Best Hip Hop Group Yedu Entertainment. He serves at Celebration Church. Welcome, Brighton.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. I think maybe before we get into our conversation, I want us for you to tell us the connection between you being a Christian and rap music and hip hop? Because there's this, thing, ekuti hip hop and rap are satanic and all and all. And talking of rap music, I've got a brother. His name is Kutsi. He was so passionate about this rap music. And I remember sometime he said to my late mom, may dear soul rest in peace. He said to her, "Mama, ndikakura ndida kuita a rapper." And I remember my mom was like, "Huh? Kuzuda kurepa vana vevanhu." So for her, she took it as a rapper, as in a rapist. You understand? So I just wanted to clear the air that when we are talking of rapper, we are talking about music. In case there are people like my mom there thinking, what are they talking about? So can you just tell us this link between your faith and hip hop music?
Yeah, my faith with hip hop music started when I was in church. I was introduced to music by my friends.
Okay.
And also, I'm a hip hop fan. So, reaching out to the youth these days, they listen to hip hop more.
All right.
Because they cannot play a worship song to a kid in the streets out there.
Okay.
They won't relate. So, I, as a rapper, I just thought I should do something about it and be a rapper and represent Jesus Christ whilst I'm rapping also.
Well, I think it's something that is very commendable because it's a way to reach out. It's a different form of evangelism that you are most comfortable with, because I believe evangelism nowadays is more personal than the door-to-door that we used to do. So yeah, it's something to be commendable. So let us just get into the discussion. My first question is, what is the link between suicide and depression? What is suicide? What is depression? Maybe I can start with Keith.
Okay. When I was looking into this, it came to a point that I realized that suicide is taking one's life. The reasons behind it, they differ.
Okay.
With the person. Then looking at depression as a topic, we are living in a world that is full of pressure and a number of stuff and so forth. So depression is what we are going through when we are going through what we are going through.
Oh,
then,
okay.
Suicide is one of the reactions that people can come about with when it comes to what they are going through. So the link here comes when somebody then sees suicide as a way out of depression. So definitely everyone goes through a depression phase, but the way we go out of it is now what made us. So the only way we can see now a link between depression and suicide is when someone takes suicide as the only door out of depression.
I loved the way you put across your own definition of depression. You said it's going through. Can you please take that up again? I really want us to dwell on that one.
Okay, depression is when we are going through what we are going through, how we react and how we see things along it. In as much as, let's look at this, you are thinking deeper about your life. It's an act of concern. Everyone is concerned about one's life, and it's an intrinsic character or attitude that God created within us, that we all want to do great, we all want to do awesome, we all want to be on the top. And every moment we don't see ourselves right there, we got to think otherwise, get worried about what's going on, what is it I'm going to do, how am I going to get there, and stuff and so. So each and everyone at a certain point in a time in life, we are kind of depressed.
Yeah, that's true. Because when I was actually looking at this topic, and I was saying, even beyond looking at young people, at some point we go through depression. And I can't say it's a once-off thing. So that's when I think this conversation now comes in, Pastor V, in the sense that I looked at it and I said, everyone goes through depression at some point. Everyone, there's a point where, I mean, there's like what Keith has already alluded to, that I think because of how God created us, we were born with that thing to want to measure up, to want to fit in, to want to, to be accepted, to want to be loved. But it's not everyone that then goes through depression, that goes on to kill themselves. So for me now is, how then do we move from that stage of I am depressed, now I am killing myself? What then now triggers, what makes that difference between this individual who is saying, Keith is saying, yes, I'm depressed, I'm not happy, things did not turn out. I remember, what's his name? His song, Winky D. He's a song we say is 25, saying, I thought by 25, maybe I should be driving a car, maybe I should have bought a house, but things are not as. So you find we've got two individuals, we've got Keith, we've got Brighton here. They're all saying, looking at that song and saying, 25, this is what I'll have done. But this one now, when he looks at it, he then says, Saka, there's nothing, I am nothing, let me kill myself, and goes on to kill themselves. But then we've got Keith here, we're saying, and you really are very thinking deeply about it, but then somehow you come back from that gloominess, if I can put it. So Pastor Yvonne, can you help us? How then do we move from these suicidal thoughts into the actual action of suicide?
Well, allow me to just quote the scripture. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. So usually when you are depressed, it's a result of loss of hope. You do not have hope for tomorrow. You don't see the future. You don't even see where you're going. So you ask yourself a question. So what do I need to live for? Where I go. So the moment you begin to meditate upon dying, leaving this world, you continue meditating upon it, you continue to think about it, you continue to ponder on it. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves. So the more you think about it, like you're filling yourself with those thoughts of suicide, that what they call suicidal ideation, right? Yeah. So you continue thinking about it until you actually decide to do it, if you do not get help in between.
Okay. Wow. I think this then brings me to you, Brighton. I know this issue for you is like personal.
Yeah.
As it is personal to me, and as it is personal to Keith. And I thank God that you have decided to be vulnerable enough to share your experience so that you can help another person. And can you take us through how depression moved you from thinking about suicide to wanting to commit suicide? Can you just take us through that?
Now we're living in a world that's giving pressure to people, like social media.
Yeah.
Now, to go out, you see your friends excelling.
Yeah.
And you are stuck on one position. So you end up fighting against yourself. What am I going to do? Just say tomorrow. What's going to happen? So the pressure in your mind that you are not going to make it, like negative thoughts in your mind. So you end up trying to fight against God.
Yeah.
God a reason to be on this planet, and also a purpose. So yeah, that's what happens when someone is depressed. Yeah. As for myself, as an artist, I went through depression because I was seeing how others are doing in the music industry.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So I ended up fighting against myself. So yeah, that's what happened to me.
But how then did you decide this is not the way out?
As for myself, I talked to others.
Yeah, so there was some sort of intervention.
Yeah, and also reading the word, staying in the word, it helps you out through that mind of killing yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to another issue here, intervention. Because when you're saying you talked to other people, did you reach out to those people or those people reached out to you?
I reached out to them.
You reached out to
I
them.
told them my problem, what I was going through. I have a lot of Christian friends that
Yeah.
helped me out through that situation.
Wow. Thank you so much. The reason why I'm bringing that out is when someone is depressed, do they know that I'm depressed? That's my first question, because he says he reached out, and is it always the case that the person who's going through depression knows that I am depressed?
It's just a feeling.
Okay.
You just feel you are down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those when someone is depressed, is for myself, that's how I felt. I'm just down, I'm just low, everything is just going the opposite direction. I was thinking it'll go.
Wow. So I think maybe back to Keith Kuti, is there a way for him, at least he was able to reach out, but then there are some people that are not able to speak, Kuti, this is what I'm going through. And these days, there's this fake it until you make it. And some are faking it and they are not making it. And this is where depression now also comes in. Because we are in this society that says fake it, you know. BryThreeSixty, would you think, I mean, he's going through the most? And when you tell people this is what I'm going through, I'm like, Kitty, blaz, you understand? Especially, I think, young people like you are like mentors, where other young people look up to you. So can you help us on that one? Are you able to identify who this person is, and what is it that you can see?
Let me try to take it a little bit back. That sometimes when you're going through depression, you might not be even able to actually identify what is really going on within you, because it's just a void, and it's a void that you're trying to fill in with certain things, and those things are not really taking care of the void that is there. I always tell you people, like, when you take someone to begin to play God in your life, then they can't fill up the God roles. Why? Because God is God and men will be always be men. So more oftentimes we realize there is something missing, but you're not so sure. Like, you are in the middle of celebrating something, like we young people. Sometimes people, they say we fake it, but more oftentimes we won't be really faking it. We are like, we got both of those things happening at the same time. We are happy and we are sad. If you see us happy, we are really happy. It's not more like we are trying to fake it. We have come to a consensus with our life that yes, we have got issues that we are going through, but we need to keep on living. So there is this art of trying to ignore, trying to suppress and not to give it attention. You know, we are taught to keep it positive, but we don't know how far we should take it positive before it is dealt with. So I might take it positive, at the same time it's not being dealt with. So then the problem comes in when it just breaks me. You know, I always tell people that an example of those metal springs, every moment when you press it down, you might keep on trying to hold it, but the more that you press it, you still need more strength to keep on holding it. But it comes a time that if you shrink it to the last, its strength increases. Same applies with the situation that we are going through in life. You know, we try to suppress those things, then at last they just shoot from nowhere. So that's when you hear someone is coming from clubbing, then all of a sudden he has committed suicide. Someone is coming from a talk show, then all of a sudden you hear the person has committed suicide. We simply mean that it's very, very possible for someone to go through a depression phase and not being able to realize that he or she is in a depressed status.
All right. Oh, thank you so much for that. So, Pastor V, what are some of the? I know you recently launched your youth ministry, Set Apart Generation, and through your Tony talk show, you touch on a whole lot of these issues that affect young people. What are some of the issues that come up when you ask young people why they are depressed? What are some of these issues that come to play?
All right, thank you, Coach. Some of the issues that the young people raise, for example, in our nation, economic crisis, they say, okay, when I wake up in the morning and in Abasa, what do? I'm depressed, and then at the end of the day, I'd rather go to drugs, which is not even a solution at the end of the day. And then there are so many various issues that we can talk about. Abuse, sexual abuse. Okay, what do? Maybe it's a close relative who has abused you. Who do you run to? Where do you tend to? And at the end of the day, you're just trying to keep that to yourself. Even physical abuse. Even career, like, you want to do this, your parents say you should be doing this. Parents don't even realize what they're doing to their kids. You were not able to be a doctor. Now you want your baby to be a doctor. The baby wants to be a musician. And now, before you even know it, you're actually, they might not tell you, but they might end up getting into depression because they've nowhere to turn to. There's no solution. Because this is their parents telling them you have to do this.
All right. Wow. Okay. So, my careers are fancy. Parents, if you failed, Pastor Lyn, to be a doctor, don't force it upon your child. Okay. All right. So, one of the things that I want us to look at as well, still looking at issue of intervention. How can you then, at what stage do you think you need to intervene? Because I look at Keith, and I remember you shared when you were talking about the talk show, you shared about how your own sister took her own life, and you described her as someone who was a free spirit, someone who was bubbly, and then the next thing, this person has taken her life. So how then are we able to now see beyond that persona? Because munu ari happy and jovial like Chelsea, and one day you come to the office and she's down, or that I can tell something is wrong. But then there are people who are good at something is wrong, but you won't know. I speak from personal experience. For me, I was able to, and I would be the class clown because I would use laughter to mask my pain so that people don't know what is going through, what I am going through. So now, how then do you help such a person?
All right. Thank you, Coach. Well, I would like to believe that no matter how jovial a person is, there are always some indicators. Okay. There are always some indicators because in as much as they are jovial, there are other things that you can take note of, even their sleeping patterns, their eating patterns, because usually when someone is depressed, they can experience some eating disorders. You can tell she's kind of eating more than she usually does. Yes, she's jovial, but this eating pattern, there's something wrong. Or she isn't eating, she's just saying, I'm losing appetite. Or the sleeping pattern has changed. The person is spending most of their time in bed than they usually do. Or they're actually not sleeping at all. They spend trying to spend all their time on TV. And also music. Usually people who are depressed spend most of their time listening to that hopelessness music, the sad music. So it's also important to take note of the kind of music the person next to you is always listening to, because it tells you more about what they are going through inside.
And we thank God we've got BryThreeSixty to make sure that our young people listen to. Do you have something to add on that?
Yes, now people are good at dressing up depression. Because if you tell someone that you are depressed, they'll throw you. An example, if you post online that I'm depressed, they'll start to throw you. Take screenshot. They'll make you into a meme. So now people are afraid to talk about depression. It's a topic. It's a these days. So you are depressed, they'll start laughing at you. So now people are hiding it. That's why high rate suicide.
Okay.
It happened like months ago. We saw a lot of men took their lives.
That's very true.
Because people are afraid to talk about that topic. ignored in our nation, because if you talk to you are depressed, they will laugh at you.
But why is that so?
I think it's the name calling thing that has always happened, especially in social media, whereby I think, in as much as our culture is more like keep your business out of the streets, you have to. So all of us, we just know, and even we were once depressed, and sometimes you see someone depressed, we always play that kind of attitude and stuff. So I think it's the name calling that we are so afraid of. I don't know if there is anything wrong by being called weak when I am weak.
Okay.
Because the only way for me to get strong is when we have identified where the problem is. So if I don't want to be identified with where I am, there is no way I'm going to get that help. So normally as men, we just want to be tagged strong, despite the fact that I'm not strong enough to be going through whatever that I am going through. So I think it's not really maybe speaking out or coming out to everyone, and more like going on social media and I'm like, I'm depressed. Why? Because you don't even know what the next person that you are telling is gonna react. Why? Because other people have actually are done with life. They no longer care, they no longer mind that, people, they now project what they are going through on others. So if I am hating myself so much, the next thing that I'm gonna do is hating others. Is if I'm feeling that rejection, if I'm not handling it well, the next thing that I'm gonna do is rejecting others. So we should be so very careful with where we're gonna run to. So the main important thing is maybe people, they don't have where to run to.
Yeah.
Like we really want to speak. There are times when I believe that everyone got that phase when you really want someone to talk to, but there is no one to talk to.
Yeah, I love the fact that you have built on what he has said, because this was going to lead me to my next question, Pastor V. Kuti, is social media the right platform? Because there's been this debate of how far should we take it when we speak about our issues on social media. Because I've seen even Pastor status, someone who writes something like, I just want to die. WhatsApp status you. And then, like what he rightfully said, with someone who go on their Facebook page and say, I'm depressed, I'm tired of life. Is it the right platform? Is it because we are now a digital generation that everything goes on social media? Can you please help us as we help young people in relation to young people? Like what he rightfully said, Kuti, social media, actually, it's not everyone who is of the same faith of you or same belief. Umawacho can actually inbox you and encourage you to kill yourself. Because now when you look by internet, if you look at 50 ways to die, there are now chat rooms where people talk about how to die. You understand? So can you please help us by social media and expressing yourself by social media? Because social media, that's how they can reach out to me. That's how they can know I'm going through this.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Well, social media is definitely not the right place. Because when you really need help, you need to go to someone you trust. And you can't say you trust people on social media. Because probably most of the followers that you'll be having on social media are people that you hardly know, are people you've never met. So when you need help, it's either you go to a trusted friend, a trusted adult, or if you go to church, you go to a trusted person in the church, someone you can just trust, not social media. Social media will only worsen the situation, because so and so will come with their points, so and so with their comments, and before you even know it, your situation is actually worse than it was before you posted on social media.
But some will argue, still on that trusted person. Some will argue, if I tell my mom, especially in this our generation, you need to pray. Some, they will say, if you tell someone that is close, nyaya zako will be published everywhere. So I would rather talk to a stranger who does not know me, who's not going to judge me. So can you please help us? Maybe you can, but you understand where I'm coming from, because some people have actually been hurt in the church.
Yes.
in trying to go to Pastor so-and-so, in trying to go to Evangelist Keith with the issue, the next thing, Evangelist, when they have a youth summer camp, you now hear your own story being the talk of the sermon, and you're thinking, but I told Evangelist in confidence. So how then? Because it means now the onus is on us as well as parents. Because the reason why we are doing this, I want you to speak to different groups of people. I want you to speak to parents. I want you to speak to the young people themselves. I want you to speak to guardians, even teachers. You understand?
Yes,
so let's unpack this.
All right.
This stranger versus someone trusted, because someone trusted can also violate my trust. So I would rather speak to a stranger, but stranger now is also very, because you don't know what advice is going to come. So how do we get to a balance?
Well, yeah, like you said, Mama Lyn, that's very true. I think that is where the issue of like seeking professional counseling or therapy comes in.
Is it not expensive in Zimbabwe?
I'm not
Dollars,
sure.
Kaya.
I'm
These are
not
the dollars
sure.
that we are finding difficult to find.
I'm not sure, but I actually, I personally believe it's high time we normalize that.
Okay.
Because in our society, especially in this African culture, I think zvinhu zvokuti hazvinyatsozikana kunzi munhu can actually go for professional counseling. Zvinoita kunge zvinhu zvechirungu-rungu.
Sengishiti madhimoni kani
And
mwe
even kuchechi, we believe kuti counseling dzedu dzinofana kugumira kuchechi kana kunonzi you pray. And even as pastors as well, as you are saying, we should talk to everyone. Even my pastors, it's not everything child. Tunongoti pray. Because ucharamba uchingoti munhu pray. Tomorrow but munhu wangu uchingoti pray.
And nothing by prayer, everything by prayer. And Pastor
Yes,
Shan.
prayer is good, but panoda counseling munhu ngapiwe counseling.
Okay.
Aburitse zviri maari. If they need to cry, let them cry. Give them the tissues.
Evangelist.
So I've been really looking into this. Why? Because maybe it goes to our religion setup, to our African culture, and putting them all together. Then we begin to realize that we have few doors that needs to be addressed, especially dealing with today's generation. You know, there is always this thing when you want to talk to your parents and they're like, back in our days that, and back in our days, you know, that phobia needs to stop. Why? Because back in their days, they were not exposed to things that we are now exposed to. We are too vulnerable. So then back in their days, you know, they were some undiluted African culture where they had their aunties there for them and stuff and so forth.
True.
And the auntie that I know, my auntie is a slave queen. My uncle is just that one of the other people, and you know, there is already a disorder that is there. So back in the day, it's no longer working for us. We simply means that now we need parents that are going to stand up into investing to know what we are spending our time doing. A parent who is able to know, okay, this kid might be going through something. Doesn't mean he is being selective and stuff and so forth. You know, because in our African homes, you do something else, you are not okay. You are just trying to figure out things, and you are being called a name. He is lazy. You don't want to do this and stuff and so forth. So we don't have the parents that are really, in some way, they were not raised that way, but they now need to come to a place, or they now need to come at peace in understanding that these kids or this generation is totally different from who they are. You know, I love the Bible because it specifies, train up a child in the way he should go, not the way that you want him to go. This simply means that it takes time to invest in a kid. You know, it doesn't say in the way that they should go. Why? Because we are now going the same way. We are going different way. This means it needs each and every single parent to begin to study the pattern of each and every child that he or she, God has entrusted them with. Why? Because when these patterns, like what Pastor was saying, when these patterns begins to change, but if they have not mastered the patterns, they're not going to be even able to identify that there is some changes that are going on with our kid. Then all of a sudden, like, you know, and we are just filled with this assumptions. So what I would think, or what I would encourage, is parents need to invest into knowing their kids. We let go of back in our days. Let's deal with these modern days, we feel differently. Certain things that we, you know what, certain things that we are going through and certain things that are killing us are not as big as they think.
Exactly.
It is these silly, simple things. Like I was talking to this other kid at this other school who was cutting herself, and he was always wearing a jersey, and I had to ask her, aren't you feeling anything? He said, that's why I'm here. I wanted to talk to you about something. I want to show you something. And there was some cuts on her. And then I was like, what's up? And it was just about a parent who was not there for her. To me, I was like, she's at a boarding school. I've never been at a boarding school. And what she was cutting, she felt rejected. Why? Because on every holiday, the parent had to take her somewhere else and not home. All she wanted was not the school fees. She was okay. No, was not the food. The food was there. All she wanted was time with your dad.
Wow.
All those little things. So it's now the art of the parent now trying to know, what is my kid lacking? Yes, you are providing, you are trying whatever that you, but is it what I am really in need? Like priorities. You are prioritizing my fees. You are, yes, I know how important it is, but at this moment, the fees, my attention is not even at school. My grades are not going to improve. Yes, you are shouting about your monies that you're investing in my academics, but I am worried as an individual about the attention that you are not giving me. It is silly, but it is affecting me.
I think you should add poet to your list because he was getting all poetic there. And I loved how you said nowadays our aunties are slay queens with a straight face. Anyway, we move on. You said some very profound things, evangelists, that I want Brighton and Pastor V to weigh in on parents also realizing that their generation is different from our generation. And these days there's an issue, yema Y2K. And usually panotaurwa yema Y2K, it's in a negative connotations. So I want us to then say, okay, we've heard you, evangelists. Parents have to be present. Parents have to hear their children. Parents have to be on the lookout for these behavioral changes and everything. Parents have to know that it goes beyond paying fees. And your child also needs you. What you're saying is so profound because my daughter is in grade 1, Anashe, and she's only 6. She'll say a statement like, Mama, freeze up her phone. This is a 6-year-old. And she demands your attention. And I love that about her because she'll tell you, Mama, I want you to look me in the eye when I'm speaking to you. And sometimes you say, Mama, put the phone down. I want mother-daughter time. So that taught me, Kuti, I need to then say, Ukaona mwana ani 6 years. How about those who cannot speak out? That one is outspoken. But Vangani would then say, I'm really busy. And then she'll say, okay. And then and then the next day you do the same. So that one we hear you and we're still deliberating. But I also want us to then say, Pane, a time when there was quite a number of suicides, if you remember, Yevanave primary, high school, and university. But the primary and high school was at its peak. Almost every report, 12-year-old go with azo die. And then there's someone who said something that I felt is valid in a way. When we're talking about this, a parent was saying, Mazwano takuchka kutsiura vana. Because ukamutsiura, the next thing they will kill themselves. And if they say they are going to kill themselves, this generation, they will kill themselves. It's not a threat. But this one, ukamuti jurai and Joshua jurai, and that is a guilt as a parent that you're going to carry for the rest of your life. So Pastor V, help the parents, help the young people as well let's meet each other halfway. In as much as parents have a role, us as young people, you as young people, you also have a role to play. Because takutochka kukutsiurai, tibatsirei, todii, Pastor V.
All right, thank you, Coach. Well, I think firstly, talking to parents, parents should be very free people to their kids. There are some parents who they're unapproachable.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you get what I mean. Would say like if dad is coming back home, all the kids run to their bedrooms. Dad is now here. You are scary to your kids. So no matter what your kids may be going through, they can't open up to you. You are there, but you are not there.
Okay.
Yes, the father is there, the mother is there, but they are just not there. Emotionally, you have no emotional connection with your kids. I think parents should try to be close with their kids, to be friendly with their kids. Kuchikisa sandiko kuba baba, kuchikisa sandiko kuba mai. Let your kids be able to joke with you, be able to even, like she was saying, Evangelist Keith, right now we no longer have answers. Even if there are issues like relationships, because some people actually, some young people actually commit suicide because of relationships.
True.
Allow me to open up to you, Mama. I'm dating this guy. This guy really helped me. I'm dating this girl. This girl really helped me. Allow me to open up about even those issues that have to do with my relationships. Because if I don't find anyone I'm free to talk to, then it's going to be a problem. Like what you are saying, the parents have to understand that the times that we are living now are different from the times that they lived in. Isusu kana tichwana my parents, they are more like everything. Everything. So the parents should be free. They should be like our friends. They should befriend us, Isusu as kids. And also, I think for kids it can be very difficult because parents mukuru awukwanisi kuenda beyond allow. So a child can only go as far as you allow them.
Okay. Can you mese muri kutaura nevabereki handisi kuramba, but we also want you to speak to the young people, because there's an issue that I've raised where vabereki are saying, okay, fine, but still pane certain things that we cannot allow young people to get away with, in the sense of we need to understand them. Anditi mwana ari kubuda izvo these days they are white parties anoyana 2 a.m. Pastor V, because ndiri kutya kuti ndikatsiura Chelsea andipindira mbana 2 anozviuraya. I have to keep quiet. The next thing achauya yanhumbu, I have to keep quiet because ndikamutsiura achazviuraya nemwana. The next thing achauya nemukomana wacho na BryThreeSixty pamba pangu, ndakuvachengeta, ndiri kutya kuvatsiura because achazviuraya. Can you please help the young people? Because umwe wacho anotoziva kuti indinozviuraya. And vabereki now they also feel, some are present, it's not like they're not present, but then this thing yekuti now takutotya kukutsiurai vana because munozviuraya.
All right. I think allow me to take you back to issue of social media. I think this generation is getting this negative influence from social media a lot, such that like you're saying, free spirits, and some parents are actually good, but it's actually the kids
Exactly.
problem. Why? Who is influencing that kid? That is the first question. Where are they getting the influence from? Saka, it also goes back to now influence. And then you also train up a child in the way you should go.
Okay.
How was that child raised in the first place? Because if you have been raised well, you will not depart from the way which you were raised. It will still, I'm sorry, I'm still getting back to parents again. But I'm thinking it also still comes back to now your parenting. But also as kids as well, it's our responsibility to take good care of our lives, of our future. Always know that whatever that you do today, you always suffer the consequences in the future. Be it clubbing, be it whatever that your parents may be saying, don't do this, don't do that. You alone are the one that are going to, or that is going to suffer the consequences. So it's very important that you know that whatever that you're doing, you are not fixing your parents. You are fixing yourself. So you make your choices. Your life is your choice. So you better make good choices while there's still time.
I think Brighton wants to add something, then we quickly wrap up. It's time.
Yeah, actually, it's about true.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's hard to tell your parents you are depressed, yet themselves are depressed also.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to provide for you.
You
Try but school fees, or don't try to everyone and all what you are depressed. My parents, they are crying about BP and stuff. So telling them you are depressed, what do I say? Depression, another problem, another problem. So now kids are running to TikTok. Now kids are being raised by TikTok, so Instagram and stuff. And also now depression is the most paying thing to content creators. Even musicians, they are making money out of music. Depressed. So people will be affirming themselves. So music, they will tell you how to cure yourself, how to how you are going to take care of depression, you are going to drink my drugs. So now depression is a paying industry. So my social medias and other platforms, they are monetizing that stuff. So yeah, to deal a big thing.
Hey, like you rightfully said, we are dealing with a huge thing, because like what you're saying, some people can then now take advantage of this. Is why we need such platforms as On Your Life, more of them, where we're now saying, no, depression, you can come out of it, you can, there's still life, so I wish we had more time, but we are running out of time. So I want you, as we close, I want your closing remarks, Evangelist. For you, I know you deal a lot with young people. I want you to speak to that young girl. I want you to speak to that young boy who is saying, Inini, I don't see any way out. I think if I die, even my parents won't miss me. There are people, kids would think that. Or someone who's saying, if I don't perform very well and their parents are very strict, she's going to speak to parents because she loves speaking to parents. But you're speaking to the young people who are saying they don't understand me. I remember at some point we did this topic with my husband when we were doing this couples thing, and we said loved but misunderstood. It's so very real, Kuti. Your parents really love you, but they don't understand you. Like you're saying, this generational gap is real, especially if parents, we don't take that honors to really sit our kids down and find out how they are, what they are thinking. Can you talk to that young boy?
Okay, my advice is there is no end until there is an end, or it's not over until it's over. At the end of the day, we are all responsible over our lives. People are going through a lot. Yes, you are going through a lot, but we're gonna make a life out of you. And there is not a warrior without scars. There is a saying that says heroes do cry. I see in the Bible David going through whatever that they're going through. The wives and the wealth was taken away. He got a moment to cry, and after crying, he got up and he started chasing after their wealth and after their wives and families. So my encouragement is, no matter what you're going through, try to be strong. No matter how you might think your parents are not giving you time, no matter what you're going through, no one wants you dead. No one wants you dead. No matter how many times you may mess up, we might get angry at you, we might not like you for a little moment, but in the fullness of time, the Bible says that in the fullness of time, God made all things beautiful. So you need to be able to take control over your life, take responsibility of the wrongs that you do and the good that you do. Embrace everything. Life is not like a buffet where you pick this and you don't pick this. Good and bad things, they happen to them all. And if they come by your door, I want you to know that you're not the first one to be heated by that strategy. You just need to compose yourself, find someone, talk to someone. And the other thing maybe I wanted to say is, we have never been taught where to really go when things goes hard. Like, we go to social media. Why? Because that's where, when we are being taught, don't be addicted to social media, and you're like, no, I love social media, I'm enjoying social media. the time when it really matters, when you need something that really helps. You have never created relationship with people. You are always on social media. At the end of the day, you take your problem to the social media, and the social media is not a platform to help you. Then things just get wasted and stuff. So create relationships, do things the right way. Did the seeker, Surika, no, be able to listen to people. But and out of those relationships, people will be able to see when you're not okay, and they'll be very, very ready to welcome and to hear you speaking, whatever that you might be going through. But help is always on the way. There is someone who is ready to help you.
Wow. Wow, I think those are very great sentiments. And maybe just to add on to say, Biti, create relationships. And I think one of the greatest relationships that you can ever create as a young person is with God, not the man of God. We thank God for your pastors, we thank God for evangelists, but have your own personal relationship with God. Let God be your father, such that even if your daddy is there, but he's not there, or even if he's absent, apana, I've always said this, and I want to say this to young people that are watching. Apana mwana ari a mistake. The way you might have came, whether it was through rape, whether it was through incest, whether my mavaka mitiswa, that was the mistake. But you are not a mistake. You are wonderfully and fearfully made, and you are a child of God. Say, BryThreeSixty.
Yeah.
I want you to speak to the artists. Probably there's a young person who's saying, okay, we can actually do hip hop.
Yeah.
In Christian hip hop. I can actually do Christian rap. Can you talk to that young person who is saying, I also want to use my gift to bring positive change as a young person? Can you speak beyond music, even if it's art? Just speak to a young creative on how they can.
Yeah, I just want to say, keep on doing what you're doing. Don't even listen to what other people are saying, because when we started, even my negative response from people. So I just want to say, be consistent. There is hope. Keep on pushing. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who's listening. You are going to help someone. So yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Pastor V, speak to the parents, to the guardians, to the school teachers, to everyone who has a stake in raising a child. Can you speak to them regarding issue of the mental wellness, the mental health of our young people?
All right, thank you, Coach. Yes, to the teachers, to the parents, to the guardians, I would like to say, let us always take note of the patterns and behaviors of the children that we are watching over. They actually say a lot. If you notice a change of behavior, don't rush into judging. You might never know what that child is going through, because what depression does also, it brings change in behavior, because you're having these mood swings, you're just moody, and because in our culture, in our society, we have not been taught so much about this depression thing, so we are so quick to judge. Like what Evangelist was saying, but instead of rushing to judge, ask, are you okay? Is everything okay? If you're a teacher, is everything okay at home? Do you need any help? You can talk to me. Make yourself available. Make yourself available so that the young people feel they have someone who understands them, feel there's someone who's ready to listen, someone who's ready to help. Because what some people just need is someone who just gives them an ear. That's all. All they want is an ear, and they open up and then they tell you everything. And let's keep it to ourselves.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Wise words from Pastor V. And this brings us to the end of this episode. So as per usual, I'll ask Evangelist Keith to close for us with a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We give you glory and honor, and we reverence you, for you are the healer of our hearts.
Amen.
You are the one that speaks to the souls. You know, oh God, and you know us even in the darkest places. You can identify us, you can visit us, and I'm praying, Father, at every moment may you touch our generation. May you send them helpers that they need. I'm praying, oh God, that you may straighten their hearts and make them courageous like never before. And I'm asking you, oh God, to equip our parents. In Jesus Christ's mighty name, give them the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding how to raise their kids. And I'm praying for the kids, oh God, may you give them a teachable spirit,
Amen.
that the heart to understand how much they are loved, to begin to
Amen.
understand that in all these things there is love being ushered, and to be able to receive it as it is. Father, I thank you and I give you glory and honor. As we release this session and this series, we pray that it may heal a heart, it may change somebody's mind and bring them back to the light of who you are. For in Jesus' mighty name, for hope, that's where it comes from. So we are coming to you. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed, and we say amen.
Amen. It can only be so, it cannot be otherwise. Wow. Beloved viewers and listeners, you've been awesome as always. Your support never ceases to amaze us. Keep walking and working purpose. From you, your host, Coach Mama Lyn, the Phenomenal Woman Roundtable family, on your life coaching and mentoring consultancy, our Zim daily partners, and the entire crew behind the scenes is adios for now. Until next week, Thursday, same time, same place. So this topic, as you can see, as you can agree with us, it's huge. There's no way we can unpack everything in an hour. But why we are doing this as the pulpit beyond the pulpits is to provoke conversations that go beyond this talk show to our churches. We thank God we've got young men who are representative of various churches, various Christian denominations, so that they can start us on having these conversations beyond, when we do our youth meetings, let's also have segments where someone comes, we find experts within our churches or outside our churches who can come to speak about these issues and help parents and young people. So thank you. Please tune again next week, Thursday, where we'll be talking about the sex files. We'll be having the sex talk with young people. Out.